Hello everyone, my name is Dallas May, and welcome back to some more Doomsday Prepping. Today we are going to talk about the top best survival foods for an apocalypse. Um, you know, a lot of people pass up on bouillon. We got chicken and beef bouillon. Now, why I recommend this and one of the top best survival foods is because you can put this in boiling water and you can make like a chicken broth for like soups, probably ground it up, make a seasoning with it. Um, I also recommend any canned food like soups, pastas, anything that has a good shelf life and is easy to prepare. That way, if you're like in a pinch and you need to quickly make something for on the go, canned food is always a win. Now, you can always buy soups from any local grocery store like Dollar Store, Walmart, wherever it is you go shopping, you can always buy this. Now, for everyone, my nephew being a little pester. Anyway, the third thing I recommend is beef jerky. Now, you're probably wondering why beef jerky. Well, beef jerky has a pretty good long shelf life, and it's got a good source of proteins, and it is savory and it will keep it for a while. But the ultimate, ultimate survival food would have to be pemmican. I mean, if you don't know what pemmican is, it's a very old recipe used by Native Americans. And I myself have a bunch of dehydrated food, and I'm going to show you some of that here in a minute. Yeah, for a long-term survival, you could get some of these. They're Mountain House dehydrated powder meals, and they can last a pretty long time. These don't expire until August 2052, even July 2052, and that's a heck of a long time. You can buy these pretty much anywhere, and they come in different menus. You can get lasagna and meat sauce, breakfast skillets, beef stroganoff and noodles. I mean, the options are very much different. So I do highly recommend those, especially for long-term storage, because these are easy to make. All you need is some boiling hot water, and then just some time. Now, you could get MREs. I would show you some right now, but I don't have them. You could get MREs. They are relatively easier to make. All you need is some water to add to an FRH. I myself recommend them to some people, especially, like I said, if you're on the go and you need to make something real quick, an MRE could be the way to go. I mean, you could do either canned food or MREs, especially when you're on the go all the time, having to move and you ain't got time to actually sit down and prepare a meal. Then either canned food or an MRE is the way to go. Um, I never made pemmican. I don't know how to make it, but I've heard about it. And it's actually a pretty decent thing to have. It's dried beef with a few other things in it. And Native Americans lived on some of that stuff for a while. I don't know how to make it. Like I said, if I knew how to make it, I would. Um, but yeah. Mountain House meals, canned food, and MREs are probably your best long-term survival foods. And like I said, soups, beef jerky, etc., all that is good for on the go. And long terms, like I said, these are good. It's right here. Get a good close up of that. August 2052. That is one heck of a expiration date. So that tells you these will last almost 30 years. Because right now it's 2022, we're on the brink of 2023. And that's almost a 30-year shelf life. Now, I myself recommend these for any... I recommend these for any bug out kit or prepper out there that wants to doomsday prep. If you're willing to look for more options to long-term food storage, then those Mountain House meals are a pretty good way to go. Now, they are not really cheap. They do cost a little bit of money. It costs about $8, maybe $9 a meal. But you get 2 servings in each meal. So you could potentially feed 2 people in one of these. Or if you're just really, really hungry, you could have a really big portion. There are other menu options. There is breakfast options like breakfast skillets, scrambled eggs with bacon, granola with milk and blueberries. Just a bunch of different options. You can even get some dessert ones like ice cream sandwiches. You can get ice cream sandwiches. And it surprised the heck out of me that they actually have them in that way. Let's talk about top items that could be used for trade. Well, in apocalypse terms, if you're out hunting and you manage to bag a buck or deer, you could always use the antlers for trading. And spare no expense when you bag a deer. Everything on it can be used. The furs can be used to make hide, which can be used to make clothing and other materials. The antlers could be used to make a weapon or a tool. The meat, you can always eat it, smoke it, sell it if you wanted to or needed to. The bones can always be used to make broth. Now, I know a lot of people out there think that that is disgusting. Well, broth ain't exactly disgusting. It's what they use to make soups and stews. So if you think bone broth made strictly from bones is disgusting, then you're missing out, because broth is pretty damn good. And I myself have had it multiple times, and it's pretty good. A lot of people think that the marrow in bones is disgusting. That's actually how broth is made. They call it bone broth, or they call it something else, but that's how broth is made, from the marrow of a bone of an animal. You can make it from pigs, you can make it from cows, chicken, all kinds of animals. You can make bone broth. It's relatively a long waiting process, but it can happen. And another thing that you could also do if you have a community built is you can preserve and make your own canned and jarred goods that you could probably trade. Or you can use them for your community. Either or works. I mean, if you want to trade, that's up to you. I'm not going to judge you. But you can make your own jellies or jams or your own tomato sauce or even hot sauce. You can make your own hot sauce. You just gotta make sure you use the right peppers and ingredients. You can even make your own pickles too. You just gotta know how to do it. Now, I myself have a jar of homemade jelly right here. And this stuff is actually pretty decent. My parents made a lot of jarred goods, and this actually stayed good for about 6 years because we kept it jarred. And I opened it just a few days ago, and this stuff is still good. Surprisingly. Um, Another thing you might want to consider is keeping cans with you in the apocalypse. And you're probably wondering, why would I want to keep a can in the apocalypse? Well, you could always reuse the can for other things. You could use it as a container for boiling water. Um, you could always use it to make like a smoke grenade or something. I mean, if you get enough flammable, smokable material compacted inside this, and then you seal it up and set it on fire and toss it, you can make your own little DIY smoke grenade. And that's about 2 uses I could think of it for it right now. Or you could use it to probably boil some different soups or boil something edible in it, besides the food that's already in it. Like if you went fishing and you caught a few small fish and you filleted them up and you wanted to boil them and you didn't have anything to boil them in, this would be the way to go. I mean, if you ain't got nothing else. And another thing in terms of apocalyptic terms, you can make a weapon just about out of anything. This right here is my own version of Morgan's staff from The Walking Dead. Now, I have seen The Walking Dead, and you probably, and I know whoever's seen this video has to have seen it too. And for some odd reason, Morgan's staff has the ability to penetrate a human skull. I don't know how that's possible. I don't. Because, yeah, I don't really see a blunt object penetrating a skull. Maybe good for smacking the shit out of someone, but penetrating a human skull? Nah. Maybe if you want to knock the fuck out of someone, yeah, I could definitely see it being good for that, but as far as penetrating a human skull or a zombie skull, no. Maybe good for smacking the fuck out of someone like he did in Fear the Walking Dead. That was still funny, the way Morgan smacked Nick's hand with the stick. There's a knife sitting next to him. He's like, "Aren't you worried that I might?" And then when he reached for it, Morgan smacked his hand. He reached for it again. Morgan smacked his hand. When he tried to get up and run, Morgan tripped him with the stick. I mean, it was just plain old funny. But yeah, Morgan's staff in The Walking Dead, I don't see how it'd have the ability to penetrate a zombie or human skull. But I don't see that. Maybe if it had like a, oh, I don't know, a knife attached to it, maybe? Of course, then it'd just be a spear. I mean, you could turn it into a spear and stab things with it. I mean, all you need really is some tape or rope, something to tie it onto. But stick by itself, not a very good weapon for fighting off assailants and zombies. I mean, sure, you could whoop the shit out of someone with a stick, yeah. Yeah, you could do that. But making it an effective weapon? Nah. Nah. I, myself, own a lot of weapons. And the stick, I mean, I can use it as an option if I wanted to. Heck, I could probably, here, let me grab one of these. I could probably make, like, a war club with this if I used it right. I mean, if you tied off this whole horn, or anything really spike related, to it, you could probably use this as a pretty decent melee weapon. Especially for fighting zombies, because it's spiked. And it could really hurt someone, really. I mean, the antler or horn alone, it's good for penetration. It's pointed as heck. Almost like a spear tip. So, imagine having something taped to a stick like that, or tied to a stick like that, and you swing it at your zombie or assailant or whoever or whatever's attacking you. It's gonna hurt. But will it kill? I don't know. So that's one DIY tactic that you could learn in any apocalypse. You got a horn or anything spiked really, whether it be a knife or barbed wire, razor wire, you name it. If it is spiked and hard enough, you could tie it off to a stick like so and use it as a melee weapon. But you know me, I have a lot of weapons. I mean, I have knives, swords, machetes, hatchets, staffs, guns, all kinds of stuff. And I even have my own little bookshelf of survival gear. Well, survival manuals. I got my own backpacks filled with survival gear. I got tactical vests, gas masks, all kinds of stuff. And I am a prepper for apocalyptic terms. I mean, shit can happen any day of the week, just like that. And it's only a matter of time before shit does hit the fan. And when shit does hit the fan, I'm gonna be prepared. Because I actually have a family of preppers, you could say, out there that are actually pretty smart when it comes to prepping. I'm not going to mention their names or give where they are hiding out at, but I know who they are. One's good with a bow, and the other one has pretty good stockpile of canned goods and jarred goods and weapons. Pretty much like me, except a little different. Now, some of you are probably wondering why prep? Well, as Burt Gummer once said, when you need it and don't have it, you sing a different tune. And that's where my term for prepping comes into place. In an apocalypse, any kind of apocalypse really, whether it's zombies or a flooding, hurricane, or power outage, anything really. Could be anything. The possibilities are endless. Better to have it and not need it as to need it and not have it. So if you're watching this video, go ahead and subscribe and add a like below, and we'll discuss more doomsday DIY and trading tactics that you can find to help yourself or possibly someone in the apocalypse. This is for doomsday preppers and people who want to get into doomsday prepping. This is Dallas May, signing off.